This is Rick. Hello and welcome to Champion Individual Rights, where I always focus on the importance of digesting reality in a moral context. The most basic right, a right being a moral sanction, should be that of the individuals to their own life and, as it has to follow, to the product of their own endeavors. Every individual should have a right to their own life, privacy, and possessions, regardless of their ethnicity or the geography upon which they preside. Today, we live in a world where U.S. politicians have separated themselves from the moral law, and they are behaving as if individual rights do not even exist. What can we do to turn this situation around? We have to begin by digesting reality in a moral context. This is the formula that has been used to control the human race for thousands of years. While you are at a young, vulnerable age, before you have developed the mature ability to decipher that which is true from that which is false, the force of government moves in and begins programming you as to how you are to think about things. They program you with many ill-conceived perceptions so that they can control you. This contamination takes place within the forming process of understanding. It consists of an imaginary world filled with contradictions, an illusionary world void of moral cognition where words often have no intrinsic meaning, leading to a state of mind where reality is not deciphered in a moral context. In regards to this most vulnerable period of human existence, I haven't been able to find any scientific name given to it, so I have decided to name this most crucial time of our mental development in Latin, the Cerebrai Vulnerabilis Tempus, which translates to cerebral vulnerable period in English. While you are at this young, vulnerable age, it is crucial that you receive a sound moral education with the understanding that every individual should have a right to their own life, regardless of their ethnicity or the geography upon which they preside. This gives an individual the ability to digest reality in a moral context. It is the moral law that separates man from the beast, commanding man, telling man what he is worthy of when it comes to his interactions with other rational creatures, including his fellow mankind. It is also crucial that during this most vulnerable stage of our existence, that every individual should be taught the importance of what I call, quote, the baby block rules of understanding, unquote, of which were introduced to me in the writings of Immanuel Kant. These two rules must be used in helping us to make accurate determinations. 1. Always look for contradictions to your arguments. Why? Because thinking is uniting representations. There cannot be any contradiction. A contradiction can only exist in an imaginary world, not the real one. If you are not looking for contradictions to your perceptions, then, in all likelihood, your ill-conceived perceptions are going unchecked. 2. Understand the importance of distinguishing between knowing and thinking. When you know something, you can prove its possibility. When you think something as opposed to knowing it, you can think what you please, providing it's a possible thought and there are no contradictions. It still leaves open the possibility that this particular appearance in your mind is not accurate, an appearance being an idea derived from a perception or a combination of perceptions. What are the benefits of being able to digest reality in a moral context? Once an individual understands that everyone should have a right to their own life, privacy, and possessions, they will be far more likely to respect the rights and properties of other people as well. By digesting reality in a moral context, it will go a long ways in lowering crime rates throughout the world, including the crimes against humanity that are being inflicted against citizens around the world by political leaders. In regards to the contamination, governments don't want you to have a sound moral education because they want you in a state of mind where you can easily be controlled and they can manipulate the way you think about things. They don't want you to have the ability to digest reality in a moral context. The government wants you in a state of hatred and confusion. They want you to hate other people because of their political positions, because of their race, because of their sex, because of their religion, wealth, you name it. Of course, the most vile separatist agenda of them all is war. People have been programmed for thousands of years that they have to continue fighting for their freedoms in wars. Otherwise, everyone else that died fighting for their freedoms in previous wars would have died in vain. Important fact of reality. The first casualty of war is the truth. When you die fighting in wars that are fought over imaginary perceptions, packs of outright lies, such as in Iraq, you died in vain. Your masters get away with lying to you, not your public servants. Very important fact of reality. Without truth, there can be no justice. It is time to start fighting and promoting for the rights of the people of the world. There is no reason to continue following in the errant footsteps of our forefathers. It must be recognized that the politicians should be bound to the same laws of the conscience that the average individual is bound to. It is only through our moral cognition and our ability to digest reality in a moral context that mankind can achieve its ultimatum: world peace through the recognition of individual rights on a global basis, with the understanding that every individual should have a right to their own life, privacy, and possessions, regardless of their ethnicity or the geography upon which they preside. This is the exact opposite position of the morally bankrupt New World Order nonsense that is devastating our planet today. Free your minds from the contamination that has plagued mankind for thousands of years. With the threat of nuclear war in the air, now is the time for a peaceful revolution of thought.